All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday to you all. It's so good to have you all here with us today on our live webinar. I am joined today. Cheryl is back in the
Oh,
house.
hello.
Cheryl, so good to have you back. Tell us a little bit about what you do last week. Anything fun?
Last week I was in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. If any of you've been there, fun experiencing the Smoky Mountains and Dollywood. Fun
Oh,
park to go to for sure. Yeah.
very good. My husband and I honeymooned in the Smokies. We absolutely love it there. Have you been to the Smoky Mountains, Dr. Saunders? I bet you have. You're a traveler.
I have. My wife grew
Mm.
up in North Carolina, and one day we were staying at her dad's house in Maryland, and she said, "Let's take a road trip," and we went on a road trip through the Smoky Mountains.
There you go. That's a
It was
great place.
beautiful. It was
It is
beautiful.
absolutely gorgeous. I love it
Yeah.
there. Haven't been back for a couple years, but actually next week I think we're going to drive through. So I'm super excited about that. Very excited.
If I go back, I would definitely do more hiking. It wasn't quite the weather, but
Oh yeah, you probably had some cold weather.
we did. We had cold weather. Cold snap came through.
We were joking about that last week and said with your Florida blood, you were probably bundled up pretty
Sure
good.
was. I sure was. Heavy winter
Nice.
boots, heavy winter jacket.
Yes, yes. All right. Well, while everyone is getting on, and as you're saying your hellos, just want to let you know our topic today is overcoming food cravings and the brain chemistry behind those and how to master them. So, very good information to have as we get into the season of food and sweets and oh my goodness, I can go back and forth between appetizers and desserts and
Oh,
appetizers and
forever.
desserts. Yes. So I think this is great timing. But while you're all hopping on, let us know in the chat today what is one of the your worst cravings? Like are you on team savory? Do you crave sweets? Are you more, the sour? Like let us know a little bit about a craving that maybe that you have. And while they're all doing that, I'm going to get us going live on YouTube. And Cheryl, I'm going to toss it to you for some housekeeping items.
Well, I'm just going to ask you, what is your craving?
Oof. My craving, mine is kind of a time of the day. After dinner, I do crave a sweet dessert, something sweet, whether it's mint. I can get by with a cup of tea that maybe has a little bit of a sweeter flavor. Yeah, but that's kind of how about you?
I'm chocolate all the way. Give me
Oh,
chocolate in many forms. And lately I've been enjoying Dubai chocolate. Way too much, probably. Yes. And Kevin Putney just said dark chocolate, 90% pure. I'm not quite that dark,
I
but
have not. Yeah, I can't do that. How about you, Dr. Saunders? What do you crave?
Ah, cinnamon rolls. Man,
oh,
fresh baked cinnamon rolls. There is nothing like it.
So true.
Yeah.
and Dollywood's actually known for their cinnamon bread. So my husband picked some up on the way back. On the
So
way,
good.
it's like the best. If you like gooey, cinnamony, it were the best, the best.
And
Yeah.
I've
I like
looked online
the
for the copycat recipe and I just can't get it the same.
I like the gooey cinnamon,
Mhm.
cinnamon as long as it doesn't have the gooey stuff, the syrup on top, the glaze on top. I like it with like the cinnamon in the bread. That's what I
Oh,
like.
oh, you're making me hungry. These cravings are okay. We got to get going. We got to fix all this. I'm gonna get us
Yeah.
going on YouTube. And Cheryl, you
Okay.
do our housekeeping.
All right, so I'm here to give the friendly disclaimer that Dr. Saunders is like the neighbor who knows everything and is going to give you good advice. He could probably actually help you build your deck if you needed, but he's also going to help build your health. But he's here just for educational purposes. So if you want to actually diagnose anything or make changes to your health regimen, we kind of want you to go through your doctor. And we keep this friendly, so no suing anybody here, particularly us,
Right.
for whatever we say. But listen
Yeah.
carefully because he's going to say some good things. And if you crave, this is the topic for you.
All right. Do you have a question to start him off with?
Yes, I do. We were getting together and I came up with this question about what exactly is happening in the brain when we are craving.
Hmm.
Oh, that is very interesting. So when you have hunger, where does that hunger come from? And where it comes from is in your hypothalamus. Um, your it's very complex. There's a whole lot of things that enter into this, but you're making a hormone. called leptin in your fat. And your hypothalamus says this is how much leptin we need. And so when you lose weight, your leptin level is going down. But your hypothalamus is saying we need this much. And so we gotta make some more fat. So I'm gonna be really hungry. So then you're gonna be really hungry. So people who lose weight, they crave food. It's not just like I'm hungry. It's like I'm never satisfied. It's not just being hungry, until they get up to they gain all their weight back. And it doesn't really matter which diet you're on. These low calorie diets, and they were doing injections of human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG injections, which is a progesterone type medication, has a calming effect, and so it slows down the stomach, and so you're not as hungry. And it was great, and people were eating 500 calories a day, and they were losing weight like crazy, and their leptin levels go down and down and down because they've lost so much weight. And then as soon as they stop the diet, bloop, boop, they go right back up. And sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, but right around to where that thermostat is set. So one reason for craving is that we have a fat thermostat on our body that says this is what we need. Another reason for craving is types of food. Sweet things you would crave sweet things much more generally than something like fat or protein. Um, at times you will crave fat or protein, but that's usually when you have a deficiency of some kind. So if you're deficient in a certain amino acid, your body will say, I need that amino acid. And so you'll crave protein, just generally protein. You'll go, man, that meat looks really good. When you're craving minerals, then your body will say, I need minerals. And wherever that's found, you'll say, I want that. So there's something called pica, and pica is where you eat inedible things. My brother, my little brother, 3 years younger than me, he was sitting in front of the Cotton's house, like three doors down from us, and he was like 3 or 4 or 5 years old, something like that. And I was 3 years older than him, so I was like 8 years old, and he 7 or 8, and I'm watching him eat dirt. And I'm going, oh, he's eating dirt. Why is he eating dirt? And so much later, I talked to him about it, and I said, oh yeah, I remember when we were little and you were eating dirt. He goes, yeah, it smelled so good. I just like smelled really good, so I just started eating it. Probably pica is from some kind of nutrient deficiency. So it's been thought like people that chew ice, it's because they have that craving for something and they don't know what it is. And that's often the problem. And so sometimes people will walk around the kitchen and they'll go, oh, that's not right. That's not. Or they'll eat everything and still not be satisfied. No, I didn't hit the spot. I didn't get the right thing. So sometimes it's a nutrient deficiency, and other times it's just an emotional need. There's an emotion that needs to be filled. There's something that needs to be filled, so people fill up their bodies with it. And sometimes it's a sweetness that I need that taste of sweet to get my dopamine rush. So sometimes cravings come from a lack of dopamine. When dopamine drops down, and you don't have that feeling of, it's not necessarily euphoria, but the feeling of it's okay, like everything's okay. So you have kind of that fidgety, I got to go eat something, and I got to get up and so, and it's usually a sweet thing because that's what gives you that dopamine, right? This, that kind of thing. So, um, the interesting thing about sweet things is you could eat a whole, and I'm totally this way. You could eat a whole meal, a big meal. I'll give you an example. I was doing the diabetes solution kit. I was doing phase one in the diabetes solution kit because somebody asked me. They said, it was like, years after we had put out the diabetes solution kit, someone asked me, well, have you ever done it? And I'm like, oh, no, actually, I haven't. I don't have diabetes, so I didn't do it. But I decided right then, I'm going to do it. So I did it, 90 days. And I had a 3 egg omelet with avocado and cheese and bacon in it, and peppers on top of it. And it was really big and really good, and mushrooms. And I ate the whole thing. And after I was done, I was like, oh man, I'm so full. Um, Now I need some like something sweet, like some fruit or toast or something. Oh, I can't do that. I'm on the diabetes solution kit right now. So, sometimes like it's just like an after meal. You don't need um, you don't need hunger to eat something sweet. And that's part of the problem with the way we eat today is that everything we eat has sugar in it. You think you're putting salt on your meat, and that seasoning blend that you have, Lowry seasoned salt, is full of sugar. You're putting gravy on something and you think, oh, gravy, oh, that's a salt thing, and it's full of sugar. You're eating chips like Doritos and you don't realize there's a bunch of sugar in it. And because you don't need um, to be hungry to eat sweet things, to make saliva and get things down. Whereas if you have more savory things or things that aren't very flavorful or whatever. When you're full, you're like, I'm done. I can't eat any more of that. And you stop making saliva and you really can't chew it up and swallow it down anyway. And so, but for sweet things, you'll just make saliva and you'll just get it down. So, for all those reasons, we get cravings for food, and need food even when we're not really, or eating food even when we're not really hungry or don't really need it.
How about cortisol, stress? How does that feed into cravings?
Oh my gosh, cortisol is it takes off like the that says, okay, I've got enough fat on my fat thermostat, I'm done. Cortisol removes that. So you don't even know. You don't have any more signal in your hypothalamus to say I'm done. There's no done when you're stressed. You could keep going. And you can gain more and more and more, and your leptin levels keep going up. And then after a while, your hypothalamus says, "Oh, okay, now our new level is this," and it's quite a bit higher leptin level as you put on a lot of fat. Yeah, yeah, stress is really big for cravings because there's no stop mechanism. Um, why do we call pigs pigs? Is because pigs don't respond to leptin. They have no stop mechanism. They can keep eating and eating and eating, and you feed a pig and it will eat. And the pig will eat every time you feed it. And you keep feeding a pig and they will keep eating and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so that's why we call them pigs. Um, but it's that leptin in their brain. They just don't have a stop signal. Well, guess what? Stress does the same thing to us. So it's not a minor problem. It's a big part of cravings. Thank you for asking that.
All right. Cheryl, I think you had a question.
Yes, I want to know about blood sugar high and lows for cravings. Oh, and I forgot to mention, if you have questions that are related to cravings or not, Dr. Saunders will take your questions if they're related about diabetes or heart disease or anything. Put them in the Q&A. We will get to them in a few minutes. But I wanted to ask Dr. Saunders about how blood sugars, highs and lows can affect cravings.
Oh, okay. So here, like I was talking about nutrient deficiencies, and people get cravings when they're lacking a nutrient, and they don't know what they need, but they just need something, and so they go around eating things, trying to get that nutrient. But the brain doesn't say, "Oh, you need arginine. Go eat some arginine." They don't take an arginine supplement. That doesn't. You wouldn't know that. You just get. I gotta eat. Yeah. Well, if your blood sugar drops low, you get fatigue and weakness, and you can get hungry and you can get sugar cravings like crazy when your blood sugar is dropping low. And people get that often when they have insulin resistance. So they eat, and their blood sugar's right here. There's blood sugar. They eat, and the blood sugar goes up. But instead of going up and peaking out and going low, it goes up and keeps going up because they have insulin resistance. So they put out insulin, and the insulin is going up, but it isn't bringing the sugar down. So the insulin keeps going up, and then the sugar starts coming down, and it gets too low. And when it drops low, then you're like craving, like I gotta eat something. And then so and it's not just craving anything, it's craving carbs. I need carbs. I need bread. I need cereal. Oh my gosh, that cereal looks so good. Oh, I couldn't eat a bite of meat, but I could totally eat that whole box of potato chips. That's or a whole bag of potato chips. That the cravings, the carb cravings often come from low blood sugar.
I do have a quick question for you. Kind of in conjunction with cravings and then folks that are struggling with type 2. So I mentioned to you earlier that something that I will crave after dinner is something sweet, like a dessert. So rather than go and have the brownie and have all the calories or whatever, I've been trying to have maybe a nice cup of tea with no honey, just it's got natural, maybe it's got apple or cinnamon, so it says it's no calories, no added sugar. But you talked a few weeks ago about how our body can be tricked if it's tasting something sweet, like when you talked about the sugar replacements and all of that. So if I'm diabetic and I'm craving sweets, and I do the sweet tea like that, even though it doesn't have any sugar, is that, should I still be avoiding those sweet things, even though I'm trying to deal with my craving? It's kind of a double-edged sword there.
It is, but yes, you should avoid it because the sweet taste can cause you to start making insulin, and then you're not getting any calories or carbohydrates with that. So the blood sugar can drop low, and you can have more cravings, and it can be worse. So you can start a cycle of blood sugar going up and dropping too low, and then I got to eat more, and it goes up. And people do that a lot with sweets, especially the need for sweets, the taste for sweets. As you eat more sweet things, you develop more of a sense of a need for sweet things. And as you decrease the sweet things that you eat, then you develop less of a need for sweet things. So people who haven't had any sugar or anything sweet in a long time will have something that tastes sweet, like ice cream. They'll go, "Ooh, man, that's too sweet. I can't eat that. It's too sweet." Or some drink that they have, that people are drinking. I don't know, some soda or something, and they go, "Ooh, that's too sweet. I can't handle that," because the taste buds change according to what you're eating. So when you eat more sweets, you develop more of a taste for sweets.
So is it better to ride out the carb craving or find a healthier alternative?
Well, it's better to write it out. But so if you're having a carb craving and you crunch on something cold, like celery, or something like that, that can be adequate. Nuts. And so, I've dealt with this. I had Skittles in my car all the time, and I driving, and I would always be eating Skittles. And then I thought, you know what, those aren't very good for you. And so I'll take raisins instead. So I took raisins, and then after a while of eating raisins, well, my daughter came and she was working for me. She was in college and she came to work with me. Um, and she sent a text to her mom. And she says, "Mom, I can't live here. All we eat is almonds and raisins. This is terrible. I can't live on Gandhi food." Um, so the raisins though are just little bags of sugar too, and they also have the same issues of creating insulin resistance and all of that, and a taste for sweet things. So I got off the raisins and started doing the almonds, and then I started doing these little baby carrots. And over time, I developed less and less of a taste for sweet things. Now I still like sweet things, but I don't need them. I don't like have to have something sweet after a meal anymore. I used to be Cheryl was saying earlier about like after a meal you're looking around and say, I want something sweet. I don't do that anymore.
There is hope.
Yes, right. There is. So what about if you have an actual nutrient deficiency, then shouldn't you find like if you have like for example, some people say that if you're craving chocolate, it means you're deficient in magnesium. So
Yeah.
should you actually feed your body something with magnesium then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. If you're low in magnesium, yeah, you need magnesium. You got to get it somehow. So take a supplement. Eat anything green, all the green stuff. And yes, chocolate does have magnesium in it. You're not going to get an especially large amount, but the color green is chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is magnesium. So that's one way to get it. Another way is any kind of nuts, seeds, beans. Anything that will grow has magnesium in it. So beans and nuts and lentils and um, seeds, they all have magnesium.
We have a really good magnesium product, and I am going to drop that in the chat for
I have
anyone
a
else.
picture of it here.
Oh, good.
Favorite of many people here at Barton. I use it every night before I go to sleep. It helps me sleep, but it maybe it's not taking care of my chocolate cravings though.
Nothing is perfect, right?
Right.
All right, I'll drop that in the chat. And just a reminder, if you anything that you would purchase, if you use the code webinar25, you will save 25% off, and that includes subscriptions too. So I'll put that magnesium in the chat for you all. All right, Cheryl, next one.
How can you distinguish between a real craving and actual hunger?
I don't know that you can. That when you're hungry, you need food. When you're craving, you need something, food or whatever. And so it's the same. And so a better way to live instead of going from hunger to hunger, from craving to craving, is to have rules and to set rules for yourself and say, this is what I do. So there are lots of ways of looking at that. Your rule could be to that I don't eat after 6 o'clock p.m. Okay. And then during the day, I can eat whenever I can, but after 6 o'clock, I stop eating. And that's a rule. And as long as you keep that rule, that's going to be helpful. Another really good rule is I don't eat processed foods. So prepared foods or anything, I eat them foods in their natural state as much as possible. So not that you have to buy wheat and grind your own flour and make your own bread. Um, uh, some things are ridiculous, but a lot of people do that. I've one of my best friends does that. Grinds his own flour, makes his own bread, and it is good. It's sourdough, so he even that doesn't even use yeast. He made the sourdough starter and everything. Um, and another good rule is I don't eat sugar, processed sugar, especially, that kind of thing. So you can have fruit, you can have dried fruits and stuff that has sugar in it. But you wouldn't take cookies or cakes or pies, for example, stuff like that. Um, like I was saying, I crave cinnamon rolls, right? So that same friend, I went to his house for dinner last week, and what does he have for dessert? Cinnamon rolls. And I'm like, oh, I love cinnamon rolls. Here, let me just smell them. Okay, I'm good.
Is he the same one who grinds his own flour? Did he make it with his
Yeah,
own? Oh, that is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Yeah. And
I,
and he makes pizza. He takes like his
Mm,
sourdough and he makes pizza in an outdoor oven, fired with wood. It's like, dang,
It's a good perk
love
to
it.
have. It's a good friend to have. It's like you can't have a boat, but have a friend with a boat. Now you can just have a
Uh,
friend.
There you go. I love that.
uh,
All right, Cheryl, do you have another question for us? And then we still need I'm inviting everyone to put your questions in the chat. We're going to get to those in about 2 minutes. So,
I wanted to ask about basically, I feel like cravings happen when I'm bored, or
oh,
like
yes.
you said, when we're stressed or emotional. So, what do you do
mhm.
when you're really just kind of stressed out and you just want to eat something like cinnamon roll or chocolate or oatmeal cookies?
That's a great question. Here's what you do. I don't know, personally, I've worked through this. I've read about it, what to do. Exercise. That's the time to exercise. Go for a walk. Get down and do push-ups. Uh, Doing exercise changes that completely. So we often um, the need that we have, we say there's a need, and it's kind of ethereal. You don't know what it is. You could be tired, you could be hungry, you could be thirsty. Sometimes people are just thirsty and they go eat stuff. Why? Because eating something, especially something sweet, stimulates the production of saliva, and you go, "Oh, I got enough saliva now." But that's just because you ate something sweet. It's not because you're actually taking care of the problem, which is you're thirsty. You don't have enough water. So uh, um, exercising, drinking water, going for a walk, and then sometimes you just need to crunch on something, right? So you have something that's prepared, available all the time, like cut up peppers or celery or something like that, and then you can just munch on that a little bit. And then go do something else. Or look at like my son when he was 5, 6, 7 years old. He'd come in and he'd say, "I'm hungry," and it would be like 9 o'clock at night, and his mom would say, "No, you're tired." "No, I'm hungry." "No, you're tired." And they would argue like that. And she would say, "Come here and lay down." And he'd lay down and he'd fall asleep. He was tired. He wasn't hungry. So think about those things that, often when you think you're hungry and I need to eat
Mhm.
something and you're just like, or bored or restless or whatever, that there's something else that you should do instead of eating.
I agree. Fatigue will absolutely do that for me. Absolutely.
It derails me. Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Are there foods that actually help your brain chemistry to avoid craving?
Getting enough nutrition. If you have good nutrition, then you don't crave food as much. So Um, people who live on foods that are low in nutrients, especially if they have low potassium, it's really easy to get low in potassium if you're not eating fruits and vegetables and beans and lentils and those kinds of things, um, because potassium is not very high in other foods. So there's two things that it's easy to get deficient in, magnesium and potassium. So if you're eating nutritious foods and everything you're eating is in its natural state, so for example, wheat has a lot of potassium in it and it has magnesium in it. But as soon as you take the bran and the germ out, then you're removing all of those nutrients, and then you have white flour, and the white flour doesn't have those nutrients in it. So you eat more and you eat more and you eat more, but you're not getting the nutrition you need. So, are there specific foods to reduce cravings? Yeah, nutritious foods. So if you're eating fruit and vegetables, beans, whole grains, then you're getting the nutrition that you need, and then you're not going to have as much of those cravings at all.
A well-rounded diet is so very, very important.
So we have
Mm.
a supplement, Lean ACV, and it has apple pectin. And we've talked about it with other customers that it helps you feel full. So does something like that help with cravings?
Oh yeah. You know, the apple pectin, along with it also has some the ACV is apple cider vinegar. So the apple cider vinegar with apple pectin in it just helps the reduce the acid in the stomach and add some um, pectin, which is actually a fiber. So since it's a fiber, it's not something that your body digests and absorbs. It's not sugar. It's not made into sugar. But it acts on the body as if you're eating, as if a food. So yeah, a lot of people use lean ACV for that specific purpose to say, oh, I have a craving, I need something. And then you can take some lean ACV and go, oh, I'm good.
So if fiber is important, then would our supplement fiber greens be helpful too then?
It could be. Yes.
And it also helps
Yes.
stabilize blood sugar. If blood sugar is an issue, then that if you stabilize your blood sugar, probably less chance of having an unwelcome craving.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of fiber greens would be, but the issue I would have with fiber greens would be for that specific purpose is that it does have stevia in it, which could induce you to make insulin.
Mm.
All right, we have a question in the chat from Kevin. Kevin says, I can't eat sweet chocolate. It actually turns me off. But why am I craving unsweetened 90% pure chocolate? Within the last month, I've been craving this. And when I wake up in the morning, my blood sugar is spiking to 127 to 133, and I can't seem to figure out why.
Okay, but read his
Hmm.
question.
Oh, and he also says, I have 3 bags of the fiber greens that I haven't opened yet.
You may just have the answer, Kevin.
That, that might be it. Yeah. So the why you're craving chocolate, there's a reason. I don't know why, but there's something that your body needs. Maybe it is magnesium. Maybe if you're getting enough magnesium, that would be good. And if you look on fiber greens, you actually have some magnesium in that too. Or you can get the magnesium spray to put on at night before you go to bed. Then you won't wake up with the craving for chocolate. You can also replace that with something else. So if you're craving chocolate, which is beans, then you could eat like beans or something instead, and that would give you the more of the nutrition that you may need, that you may be craving.
Okay. All right. We also have another question in the chat from Eddie. Eddie says, I'm only a month in new to diabetes, taking synochroma, berberine, fish oil, and my sugar is swinging hard up and down. I have had several crashes in the 50s and 2 to 300s. Any thoughts?
Wow, 2 to 300s to the 50s. That is pretty wide swing. So that's unusual. Most people, so for general information, most people have a set point for sugar and then um, a range that it stays in. So sometimes the range is up in the 200s, sometimes the 150s, sometimes the 120s. But to go from 2 to 300 down to 50, that indicates that there's a problem with the insulin production in the pancreas. Because what happens is when you make insulin in the pancreas, the beta cells inhibit the alpha cells so that you don't make glucagon. So if you make glucagon, then your liver puts out more glucose, so your blood sugar goes way up. But when you're making insulin, that blocks that. So if there's a problem with insulin production and you're not blocking that, then you eat something and you can have glucagon on top of that, and your blood sugar can go way up. And then your insulin goes way up and everything drops way down. And so it may not be a specific insulin resistance issue. It might be a different issue of how the pancreas is functioning. So you need some pancreatic function tests to understand how that works. And that may be a glucose tolerance test where they do a fasting insulin and glucose, and then they give you 100 grams of glucose to drink, which is essentially just syrup. So you drink the syrup, and then an hour later you do the same test again, and an hour after that, and an hour after that you do it 3 times. and then you watch what happens to the glucose and the insulin level. You can see how your pancreas responds to that. That would probably be the most useful test to do right now.
Okay, so here is another sugar related question with fiber greens. So Diane says, so am I to understand that taking fiber greens could increase my sugar? What? I thought it was to help with regulating sugar.
No, no, no. It doesn't increase your sugar. It may increase insulin because stevia is a sweetener, and the artificial sweeteners can increase the insulin level. If you're having problems with the insulin resistance, then that may not be the best choice right now.
Okay. And then Catherine would like to know, is keto bread good for diabetes? It has oil, seeds, and resistant wheat starch.
Yeah. Okay. So it's okay. And yeah, being gluten free with my wife for a period of time, we look for where's the bread substitutes, where's the kinds of things we can eat. So there's gluten free stuff, and then but there's something about bread that's good, but like part of a diet. So, yes, keto bread can be fine. And so you look at what are the um, the net carbs in that. So resistant starch is fine because that's more like a fiber. It is starch, but it's more like a fiber. So that's not digested and absorbed by the body. It goes down in the large intestine, is used by the bacteria. Um, so, a great thing to do for that would be because for you personally, you may not respond to it at all. You may not have any high blood sugar from that at all. If you had a continuous glucose monitor, a CGM, then you could eat your keto bread and you would totally be able to see how that affected your blood sugar. And it would just those CGMs are so useful.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I know that you talked about the diabetes solution kit a little bit ago, and somebody asked, "Have you ever done it?" And you said no. So I think it was about a year ago. A lot of the team members here, Joe put a challenge out for us to, hey, work through the diabetes solution kit. So my husband and I worked through, all of the phases, and it was hard. And I will say one of the things I missed the most was my bread. And there are some good keto breads out there, some, low carb breads, but I was like, I'm just going to build that into my carb count for the day. What is it, 20? 20?
Yeah, 20
And so I was
max.
like, build it in because I got to have it. That and my sugary coffee creamer were the two things that I'm like, I'll eat the other stuff all day. All right, Cheryl, did you have a question about protein?
We haven't really talked much about protein and cravings. We've talked about all the sugar, sweet, most people crave sugar. Some people they crave salty things, but does protein actually help reduce cravings or appetite regulation at all? Or would it re
Oh, yeah, yeah. For some people, that's really important. That's a big one because a lot of times the neurotransmitters, most of our neurotransmitters are made out of amino acids, which comes from proteins. And so if you have something with protein in it, for example, we talk about, Turkey Day is coming up, where at Thanksgiving we traditionally have a turkey, and then people sit around and go, oh, they're just, they've eaten a big turkey meal and they're feeling really good. There's something in turkey, and chicken and milk and other thing is called tryptophan. And tryptophan is made into serotonin, and serotonin is made into melatonin. Melatonin makes you sleepy, serotonin makes you feel good. And so you have this I feel good and I'm kind of sleepy. I'm going to go take a nap kind of thing. So, yes, yes, protein can definitely help with cravings. People who have carb cravings, they can often take in some cheese, cottage cheese, yogurt, or even meat. my son, or one of the things that we did was beef jerky.
Mhm.
So we would have some of that as a snack that's available. And that just made it okay. The craving went away.
So I know you have the 6-10 reset. For those of you who don't know, it's finishing eating by 6 p.m. And going to bed by 10 p.m. But am I right in hearing that in the recent past you've looked at studies about eating more protein before you go to bed?
Yeah, there's a couple of studies that um, have shown that when you eat a large dose of protein before bed, you maintain your muscle mass better. Now, I'm just not quite sure about that. I have to do some more research on it. But it wasn't a small amount. It was like 40 grams of protein. 20 wasn't enough. You needed like 40 grams of protein. And
That's
if
the
you know
whole
how much,
chicken.
uh,
It's
uh, so that's like a whole 16-ounce cottage cheese. Like you got to eat the whole 16 ounces. And so they were recommending, well, you could have yogurt and then put extra protein into the yogurt, and that would be okay. But yeah, it was, but 30 to 40 grams, and 40 grams seemed to be better to maintain that. So I think. I think that there's a better way. I think that you could probably, I don't know, eat the protein in the morning. Like if you're exercising during the day to keep up your muscle mass and you have protein in the morning and you have some regularity with that, then your body anticipates what's coming. And you probably won't use up uh, your muscle protein while you're sleeping at night in the anabolic metabolism.
We,
yes.
oh, go ahead, Cheryl.
Or I was just gonna say, Cynthia put in the comment, I'm sorry, in the chat, protein helps my hypoglycemia and the symptoms go away.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I was going to say, we have a couple little ones that are adopted. And in the adoption community, I know one of the things that's very much recommended is to give your child before they go to bed at night a high protein snack or something, eat something that's high in protein because it can help with stress and, just with behavior in that way. It helps kind of calm the mind and can help with stress. Does that protein help with cortisol levels?
um, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't. It helps with stress, I know, and it helps with because the neurotransmitters, especially if you give like cheese or something that has tryptophan in it, then you
Hmm.
get the serotonin benefit and the melatonin and
Hmm.
some immediate benefit there. And maybe that suppresses the cortisol secondarily, but I don't know that it's a primary thing.
Sure. Diane, in the Q&A asked, she says, I'm insulin resistant, but the fiber is helping with bowels, which were challenged seriously back in May. Bowels have started
Hmm.
working better, I thought, thanks to fiber greens.
Oh,
Awesome. Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And that's what it's for.
Definitely. All right, Lily, we're going to shift topics here just a little bit. Lily says, I'm a healthy female, over 80, had a mammogram 1.5 years ago after many years, all clear. They want me to have another one, and I'm reluctant. Do you think routine mammograms may actually cause breast cancer?
Okay, that's a great question. Okay, so let's take the first thing and should an 80-year-old get mammograms, period. And I'm not sure why any doctor would recommend that an 80-year-old get a mammogram because that is not recommended by any group, and the ACOG doesn't recommend it. None of the academies recommend it. So I don't know why someone who's over 80 should be getting a mammogram at all, first of all. The secondary question that you had is do mammograms cause cancer? And yes, there's some good evidence for that. UCLA did a study on radiation, and every bit of radiation, even X-rays or whatever that you're having, does cause cancer stem cells. So that they could definitively show cancer stem cells were being caused by the radiation. So the question is, does that cause cancer? Well, if you have a cancer stem cell, most often your immune system is going to take those out and remove those out of your body, so it's not going to be an issue. But there's a certain percentage of those that are going to grow into a cancer. Do mammograms cause cancer? Well, there's some evidence that when they did large studies, 100,000 women in the Oslo study, for example, they showed a 12% increase in cancer in women that were having regular mammograms. So that's something that you have to consider, that it's not a totally benign procedure to have a mammogram, that you have to look at. There are risks to doing it, and so you have to weigh the risks and the benefits and say, is that risk, is it worth it for me to take that risk to get that benefit? No, I would, being over 80, first of all, that's not even recommended.
What is the alternative? Can you do what is they call it, thermography?
Yeah, you can do thermography. And thermography has some of it decreases the risk in some ways. But it's just a different kind of thing. So thermograms have no problem with radiation. It's just literally a thermal image, is an infrared picture, and that's all. Um, but then every time they find something and they say, this looks abnormal here, then you have to do a mammogram, or biopsy, or MRI scan or whatever. And so in the process of doing all of that stuff, you still have some of the same risks. And when they do a biopsy, they're right 75% of the time. And so they're wrong 25% of the time. So, you got to look at that in terms of what are the risks and what are the benefits. But yeah, so in some ways, thermography has fewer risks.
All right. Alexander would like some more information about Crohn's disease. Alexander says off topic, but I'm curious to know the cause of Crohn's disease and the best treatment options.
Okay. Crohn's disease is inflammatory bowel disease, and that means there's inflammation in the wall of the intestines, and it can happen anywhere from your mouth all the way down through to your anus, and it can have ulcerations, and even cause a complete rupture where the bowel wall allows stool to get into your abdomen and create abscesses. And Crohn's disease can be really bad. What is it and why is it there? Um, the inflammation generally is thought to come from infections. And there's various kinds of infections that may be causing this. In some cases, it's a mycobacterium, avium, especially. In other cases, it's a Clostridium kind of organism. And these bacteria get into the wall of the bowel and can cause inflammation. But there's also evidence that it may be an autoimmune disease, that antibodies against the basement membrane allow the ulcerations to happen and then the bacteria to get in there and cause the infection. So it may start out as autoimmune. Um, so um, if you know what's causing it, if it's autoimmune, then what to do about it is to go on an autoimmune protocol to remove everything that you could be sensitive to. And there's a AIP diet, autoimmune protocol diet, that has worked for several of my patients that have Crohn's disease. It's not easy to deal with because you you have to find out what the specific problem is and deal with the problem. I had one woman, we tried everything and nothing worked, and she had 7 surgeries where she had parts of her bowel removed from all over, and she had scars all over her abdomen from that. And it was, and then adhesions, and there were just so many problems that she had over the years. And then one day she ate a pomegranate and she goes, wow, I feel a little better. And then the next day she ate another pomegranate and she goes, wow, I feel a lot better. And then she was eating a pomegranate every day. After 2 weeks, she called me. She says, I haven't had any problems, no diarrhea, no inflammation. Everything is perfectly good. And I'm going, what are you doing? She goes, I'm eating a pomegranate every day. And so then pomegranate season went out. Pomegranates went out of season. And this is in California. So, and we have like pomegranate bushes all over the place. It's like on the side of the road in Buellton, there's like these whole bunch of pomegranates. So she brings a ladder and she's climbing up and pulling pomegranates off. But then she ran out of pomegranates, and so she tried the juice, and it didn't work. She started getting diarrhea, inflammation, pain, all that again. Um, so I don't know. I've had other people do pomegranates, and it didn't work for them. So you got to find where the problem is, what's causing the inflammation, and then try and fix that.
All right. All right. We had a question that came in about statins. Sharon says, I was on statins for several years, but stopped taking them about 12 years ago. Since then, I've been struggling with trying to lower my cholesterol with diet and supplements. My triglyceride is good. It says 0.75, and HDL is good, 1.83. However, my cholesterol's high, 6.89. Non-HDL is high, 5.06, and LDL is high, 4.79. Cholesterol HDL ratio is 3.8. That's a lot of numbers I'm throwing at you there. Are statins the solution to lowering my cholesterol numbers?
No, actually, your cholesterol numbers are not bad at all. Um, the cholesterol to HDL ratio is the most important one, and 3.8 is a pretty good number. It should be less than 4.
Mhm.
It's the HDL is good, and then the triglycerides are good. So you're really not looking at any problem associated with that. So if you were to look at the big picture, and the research tells us that there is a U-shaped curve for cholesterol. So if you look at longevity or mortality, the U-shaped curve is, the higher the mortality with lower cholesterol, and then the higher mortality with high cholesterol. And so somewhere in that bottom of that curve, there's an optimum level of cholesterol. Um, and the numbers you're giving me are millimoles per liter, and I'm just not as familiar with that. But the milligrams per deciliter that we use in the United States is the 200, 210 to 250 range is the optimum. And I don't know what the millimoles per liter would be.
Okay. Good information. There's a lot of really misleading information out there about cholesterol and when we actually would need that statin. I know that statins are not something that you regularly prescribe. Didn't you say like a handful of patients, like in your lifetime, that you've actually asked to use statins?
Yeah, two. I've
Two.
I put two
Okay.
people on
Less than a
statins.
handful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there have been other webinars on cholesterol, various webinars. So if you go to our YouTube page and just search for cholesterol, probably 4 or 5 of them will come up. Cholesterol related to diabetes, cholesterol related to heart disease, cholesterol just in general. So there's other videos you can watch. And I
Mhm.
think someone asked earlier what episode this is, and I did looked, and it's episode 308.
Okay. Thank you, Cheryl. All right, we had a follow-up question about mammograms. At what age should we stop the mammograms?
Well, around 70. Yeah, around 70. Don't need mammograms anymore after that.
Okay.
Then there
All
was
right.
another question in the chat. My wife, I'd love to hear this because my dad had Parkinson's. But Dan asks, my wife has Parkinson's. What can I do to help her?
Okay, wow. Okay, so let's look at Parkinson's and what it is. Parkinson's disease is a toxicity in the brain. And so it may be a toxicity with a deficiency. So that sometimes there's a combination of things that create Parkinsonian symptoms. So knowing why it happens is the first thing. So the Parkinson's is really not a disease, it's a syndrome, it's a collection of symptoms, and there's a lot of different causes for it. So for example, you can induce Parkinson's in somebody by giving them organophosphate pesticides. So you give somebody some food that has been sprayed with pesticides, and it can cause Parkinson's disease. But there are a lot of other things too that can cause Parkinson's. People with copper toxicity, manganese toxicity can cause Parkinson's, along with deficiencies in certain things, especially B vitamins. So it's not that Parkinson's is a one-trick pony. There's not one cause of Parkinson's. So what you need to find out is what is the cause of Parkinson's. So for example, I had somebody who had Parkinson's for a couple of years. He was diagnosed a couple of years before he came to see me, and we did some tests and found out that he had a copper deficiency. And so we gave him copper, and he got better, but not all better. He didn't need a walker anymore, but he was still shuffling in his gait and still kind of slow in his speech. Um, but he did improve somewhat. And he didn't get worse from there. You know, years later, he's still functional, but he didn't, progressively decline. So that's kind of what I've found over many patients over the years with Parkinson's is when you find the underlying cause, then you can do something about it. In some cases, Dr. Perlmutter did studies. He's a neurologist in Florida, did studies on Parkinson's with glutathione. Low glutathione levels allow, or the glutathione is a detox. So the toxicity is worse if the glutathione is low. So um, people with Parkinson's sometimes have low glutathione, and you add glutathione in, sometimes IV. I've given people IV glutathione, and they just get better, like dramatically better if you give it IV.
Interesting.
Sign
Okay.
me up.
Go ahead, Cheryl.
Glutathione is good for so many things, not just for Parkinson's, and it just makes me want to get a glutathione IV treatment.
All right. All right. So while Dr. Saunders was chatting away there, I did put the link to our YouTube channel. If you search Barton Publishing Webinars on YouTube, or you can follow the link that I dropped in the chat, you can rewatch this webinar and any of the other ones. So you'll find, like Cheryl was saying, many, many webinars on cholesterol, blood sugar, all kinds of things are out there. So definitely check that out. All right, so I'm going to do one last question with Dr. Saunders before we let him go. I always like to give our viewers something practical, to kind of end our time with. So I know for myself, it's about being prepared ahead of time, like with food. The more prepared ahead of time, the better off I am, the better I eat. I can avoid the cravings, And so one of the things that I like to do is I do like those little mini cucumbers. I like to have those available in my refrigerator, as well as like some hummus, because I will crave salty crunch. Well, if I don't have anything else, I'm going to be searching for the potato chips if they're in the house. And that's definitely not what I want to be having my go-to. So I will slice up my cucumbers, sprinkle a little salt on them, dip them in the hummus with some everything bagel seasoning, and that does it for me for the craving. So what I wanted to close out with is, Cheryl, do you have a hack that you like to do by chance? And Dr. Saunders, do you have like what's one replacement that you might do for a craving or I really want to avoid this?
Well, what I can't remember who put it in the chat, not to have it in the house. So not just to have
Yes.
chips. I do have an emergency stash of chocolate, and I asked my husband to hide it at times. But in general, I try not to bring those things that I crave into the house.
I
Yeah. Okay. For me, I have nuts or baby carrots. I still go to like almonds or walnuts, or I have some pecans now. And so I'll just have a handful of nuts, and that's what I ate just before the program here. When Jody first came on, and I was eating my little handful of nuts.
Right.
Um,
We don't want a hangry Dr. Saunders.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
So the 6.2 millimoles per liter of cholesterol
Oh, yes, yes.
is 240 milligrams per deciliter. And so so 6.2 is exactly the perfect amount of cholesterol. So just so that you
Mm.
know
So
that
Sharon, good news.
Sharon, the optimum amount of cholesterol is exactly where you are. And the reason the doctors are saying it should be lower is to get people on drugs, but it has nothing to do with their health. The healthiest level of cholesterol is 6.2 milligrams or millimoles per liter, or 240 milligrams per deciliter.
Okay, that is great, great information. Good news for Sharon. Okay, well, I know that Dr. Saunders is busy, and I'm sure you have many patients waiting to see you or charting to
Yes.
do or all of the things that keep you so busy. So we will not see you next week. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We'll see you back in a couple
Uh,
weeks. And if you all
okay.
would just stay on while we let Dr. Saunders off, we have a couple things we'll finish up here with. All right. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and drop in our chat. Cheryl, will you tell our viewers a little bit about the cheat sheet? It's something that we do like to give to our viewers that can be super helpful for them. And just, I'm going to put the link in there, or I'm going to put the information in there if you just want to tell them about it.
So our cheat sheet is basically a guide on how to take our supplements. We've grown we started with just Synachroma and we've added a lot of supplements for blood sugar, but for heart, for eye health, for cravings, the lean ACV, magnesium. And we often get questions on when do I take it? How do I take it? So like I have my Eagle Eye here, but maybe you're taking Eagle Eye with healthy gut and you want to know, can you take them together? So we have a cheat sheet that says, it's safe to take these in the morning, safe to take these in the evenings, put these together with food. So if you would like that cheat sheet, email us. It's completely free, at support@bartonnutrition.com, and we will get you that cheat sheet.
Thank you. All right, and I just put that information in there. All righty. And then just as a reminder, we will not be here next Wednesday. I know a lot of people have family coming into town and lots of things to do to prepare for Thanksgiving the following day. So we will be taking some time off to be with our families. But if you're needing your fix of Dr. Saunders, or you just want to keep going with some education and some learning, go out to the YouTube channel. In fact, I plan on sharing the link with my parents. There's some episodes that I want them to watch. So we might, during some family time, I might actually pull some of those out because we'll all be together. So, Cheryl, do you have any special plans for Thanksgiving?
We're just going to spend some time with my in-laws family, and I had a request to bring my mashed potatoes. Apparently,
Ooh.
they're very good. And I do have a secret. I put garlic into the milk and I warm it on the stove. So it's kind of like garlic milk to make the mashed potatoes. And then, of course, plenty of butter. But
Delicious. That sounds amazing. Well, I am looking forward to this Thanksgiving because my son, who is in the service, he's stationed in Hawaii, and I have not seen him since January, and he is going to be flying in. So last year at Thanksgiving, he was in boot camp, and it's actually his birthday too. So I get to wrap my arms around him for the first time Friday, and then we will be together for Thanksgiving. So I'm really looking forward to that. So we will see all of you back here, same time, same place, but let's do 2 weeks instead of 1 week.
yeah, enjoy your time, no, I just about called you Leslie. Jody, with your family and especially your son. Thanks.
Thank you. I look forward to it. And everybody have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, all.